Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Let's Talk Life. That was a wonderful song by the Isley Brothers called Living for the Love of You.
I'm telling you, I love it.
That is a classic, isn't it, Mr. Norris?
Yes, it is.
Oh, man, it goes down in history.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yes.
I love some good old school. So, you guys, today we have a wonderful guest. His name is Mr. Wesley Norris. He is the owner of Wesley Norris Insurance Inc., and he is your awesome Medicare agent. Welcome to the show, Mr. Norris.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak to your audience.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you taking your valuable time coming out. And, today is the wealth segment, and we're going to be discussing wealth.
All right. I love wealth.
Yes.
Yes.
Because, we're entrepreneurs, and we just want to be testimony to the world that entrepreneurship is the way to go and that you can be successful.
Yes, you decide if you're going to be successful or not.
That's right.
Nobody else can make that decision for you.
No, they cannot. But we're going to get into that a little bit later, everybody. And right now, we're going to sip a little tea. And the tea that we have today is a very serious issue that's affecting the country right now, and it is the hurricanes.
Yes. Can we talk about Harvey?
Yes, we need to talk about Harvey and Irma.
Okay, because Harvey was in my my home state, Texas. Every day when I would watch the news, it would bring a tear to my eye because that's my home state. That's where my soul is planted.
Mm-hmm.
Texans are like Marines. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
That's
Once
right.
a Texan, always a Texan.
I don't blame you. Home is where the heart is.
That's
home
right.
is where the heart is. And, I hope that your family and everybody's doing okay out there. And we just want to send our condolences here from Radio Phoenix and Let's Talk Life to everyone who's been affected by the hurricanes this year. It's just truly devastating. And, it's just amazing how people can be living a normal life and then within 24 hours your whole world can just completely change and be flipped upside down.
That's right, and you never see it coming. Although I have to admit, they did tell them that the hurricane was coming.
Right. Thank God for the weather channel, right?
Exactly.
Okay, for meteorologists that should be able to predict it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Hey, if they're telling you that it's going to be a blizzard, a hurricane, whatever, evacuate. Run fast.
Exactly.
Don't try to hold on.
That's right.
People are trying to hold on with dear life for everything they got. Listen, you can't take a U-Haul truck with you to heaven.
That is true. I have seen people try, but they always get stopped at the pearly gates.
They do. It does not work. So it's just like, would you rather have your life or would you rather have your big screen TV?
I don't know. That's a hard choice. Like what do you grab on the way out the door?
Right. Not this 50-inch TV.
No.
Leave it there.
Leave it there.
You might get electrocuted on the way out. Come on now, people. Let's just think with some sense. But no, those are kind of the points that I want to hit concerning the hurricane is that, first of all, everybody just needs to be thankful every day for the things that they have, the things they take advantage of. I see people on Facebook or whatever saying, man, I don't have electricity. I wish I could just sleep in my bed. These simple things that we take for granted every day. And people are so busy complaining about, oh, they don't got this purse. Oh, they don't have this car, all these things. You have a roof over your head.
That's
you
right.
have your life. You have your health. And I just always, no matter what I'm going through, try to be thankful because I know my situation could be worse.
That's right. And one of the things that really warmed my heart was people showing up and helping out strangers, pulling their boat out of the garage, and instead of making it to high ground, they went down the street and checking on their neighbors and seeing if they were okay. And if they weren't, pulling them out, putting them in their boat and taking them to safety. And it made me feel really good to be a Texan.
Well, that's amazing because I do feel like in this day and age, it's such a selfish society that we live in, and people are like, hey, man, I can't worry about you. I got to worry about myself. But what happened to the good Samaritans of the world?
That's right.
And thank goodness that they're still in existence.
That is correct. And they all live in Texas.
No, they don't.
And some of them are migrating over to Florida.
Right. Well, that's really not the best place to go. Irma, everybody who's been affected by Irma, we send out our condolences as well. And it's just moving around the country, isn't it?
Yeah. And what was really strange, the one that was in Texas was the biggest storm in history. Okay? Texas has to do things the big way. We can't have the small one. So they did the biggest one. And the news media made it out to be less than it was supposed to be, and so a lot of people got caught short. And so when it went into Florida, when Irma hit, they were saying it's going to be so big, so massive, and then it wasn't all that they had anticipated, which was great.
Mm. Okay, that is better because, they don't want another Harvey on their hands, right?
That's right, exactly.
So that's good. So we just, again, send our condolences out to the country that's suffering. And there's so many natural disasters that are taking place. There's the forest fires everywhere, the hurricanes, flash floods, everything. And we just hope everybody can be safe.
Yep, because there's something going on all the time.
It is true, it is true. So we are actually going to get into the wealth segment today. And Wesley and I are both entrepreneurs. We're both in the insurance industry, Medicare in particular. We're insurance brokers licensed and certified through the state of Arizona, as well as through various carriers here in the state. And the first thing that I want to touch on is the fact that as an entrepreneur, you really have to build your business.
Right.
You really have to put in the legwork from day one to, get clients, to market and promote your services. I mean, it's just a whole big thing. And yes, it's not easy. It's a lot of work, but it is rewarding in the end.
Definitely.
And so I'm so thankful to have you here, Mr. Norris, because you're on the other end of where I'm trying to be.
Okay.
I'm trying to get like you, Mr. Norris.
Okay.
I get like life goals. These are my life.
Exactly. And I have a friend of mine, I'm trying to get where he is.
There you go.
Okay.
You got to always have somebody that you can look up to, somebody that's ahead of where you are, and then hopefully, if they have the time or the desire, can reach back and help show you some things. So I thank you for your mentorship first and foremost. But when I say that, I'm saying that, I've been in the insurance industry for about 4 or 5 years. And then how long have you been in insurance?
Since 2010.
Okay. So what we're trying to show is the progression that a person can start from like the beginning and end up at a whole nother place.
Okay.
So let's just talk about entrepreneurship in general and the importance of it. What do you think is the importance of building your wealth?
Okay. One of the first things that you have to do is find someone who's where you want to be. And sit down with them and say, how do I get there? But here's the problem. Most of the time when you sit down with someone who's where you want to be and you ask them, how did you get there and how can I get there? You don't want to do what they say, okay? Because they're not going to give you a magic wand. They're going to say, I did A, B, C, all the way through Z, and I did it on a daily basis, and it's worked. And you go, I don't know if I want to do all of that. Well, then you don't want to get to where they are.
It's true.
Okay. I had a lot of agents walk up to me and go, when I was with United Healthcare, and they go, Wesley, I see your numbers on the board and I want to be like you. And I'm like, okay, I do about 3 or 4 community meetings a week. And they go, I don't know if I want to do that. I'll see you later. Because you don't want, you're saying one thing, but you don't want to do what it takes to get there. Success only comes before work in the dictionary. Everywhere else, you have to work to be successful. Okay? And a lot of times you'll see someone who'll say, well, I'll just go ahead and get a regular job. And so you work 9 to 5, and whoever you're working for, which is great because working for a living and drawing a salary is great. But what happens is you're getting a fraction of what your boss is making. As an insurance agent, you're not getting a fraction, you're getting the whole piece of the pie. And that's what I like. And so I work for myself. As long as I'm living and as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, I don't have to worry about getting fired.
That's right. You can hire and fire yourself.
That's right.
And that is one of the glories of entrepreneurship. So you guys, we're going to get more into building your wealth in this next segment of Let's Talk Life, and we'll be back. Really good. Who's my mentor? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this segment of Let's Talk Life with Leticia Latrice, the Princess of Phoenix. We're here at RadioPhoenix.org, where we're bringing the world to Phoenix and Phoenix to the world. And we're back here with my guest, your awesome Medicare agent, Wesley Norris.
Good afternoon, everyone. How you doing?
Well, I hope you're doing well. As long as we're not in a hurricane, I'm sure we're doing better than a lot of people.
There you go. Well, you know, it's hot outside too.
It is hot and it's humid
Yes.
because of the storms, and we're just like tortured down here in Arizona. But anyway, it's a whole nother situation. So, Mr. Norris, I just want you to kind of give us like your story and where you started and where you're at now, and some of the things or sacrifices you had to make to get there, so just people can get a glimpse of what you do and how significant it is.
All right. Well, I am a Medicare insurance agent. My job, when someone turns 65 and goes on Medicare, is to help them pick a Medicare plan that is going to fill in the gaps of their Medicare, because Medicare doesn't cover everything. And so they have Medicare Advantage plans and Medicare Supplement plans. So when I sit down with a client, I ask some questions, find out what their situation is, what the condition of their health is, what the condition of their pocketbook is, and then we sit down and we go over the different options. So my goal is to help them get into a plan that is going to work best for them, not for me. And then, lo and behold, the insurance carrier sends me a check, which is great. But that's not why I do it. I do it because it's a service. Someone asked the master once, how do you be great? And he said, you want to be great? Serve. And if you want to be the greatest, serve the many. So that's what I do. My goal is to serve my Medicare beneficiaries, and I take it very seriously. So that's what I do. And a couple of things that I really pay attention to is this. When I sit down with someone, my goal is to put them in a better position. If I don't have something better than they have, I'll tell them you need to stay right where you are. And I always get this strange look from them. It's like, wait a minute, you're not going to sell me something? And I'm like, no, where you are is the best thing for you. I don't have anything better. And they're like, but you're not going to get paid. And I'm like, don't worry about it. If you're really concerned, send me some business.
There you go.
But my thing is, I want to make sure that they're in the best plan possible.
For sure. And as an insurance broker, that's what our job is to make sure that we're putting our clients in the best product or plan for them.
Exactly.
Not what's in our best interest, not what's in the company's best interest, but what's in the client's best interest. That's actually a duty as an insurance agent that we are required to do. And we're actually highly regulated also, so we don't want to be making any mistakes. So, like Mr. Norris was saying, what happens is that people are automatically if you're over 65 and you qualify for Medicare, then you're paying a premium to Medicare that comes usually out of your Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
But then on top of that, you can get additional benefits, or you can get your Medicare service through a certain insurance company like United Healthcare, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna. You have a client can choose whatever Medicare plan will work best for them. So what we do, and when we go out to consult our clients, we don't charge them for the service that we provide by educating them, helping them make a good decision in terms of what's going to meet their needs the best. But luckily, the insurance company pays us so very well.
That's right. Exactly.
And they can pay anywhere from $200 to $400 per application. I'm just going to put it out there. Then on top of that, once you have a client, they are your client for life unless they decide to leave the plan. And when we say your client for life, standard procedure is that if somebody's on a Medicare plan, the insurance company, Medicare, everybody, they pay the agent a residual income of under anywhere between about $17 per application or per client that you have per month.
Right.
So that's $17 per month for 5, 10, 15 years, however long your client leaves.
That's correct.
That's why we try to go above and beyond to make sure our clients are satisfied.
Yes.
And happy because we want them to be our long-term clients.
That's right. But there are certain things you have to do. You have to bring value to the table. And I'll give you an example. Most of the plans have what's called silver sneakers. It's basically a physical fitness benefit that's added onto your plan at no additional cost. So you can go to, give me a couple of fitness clubs.
Like Curves, LA Fitness.
LA Fitness, okay.
24 Hour Fitness.
Here's what I do. When I sit down with a client and I sign them up on a plan that has silver sneakers, one of the things that I do is I turn around and I print out the list of fitness clubs in their area. And I tell them, these are the clubs that you can go to. Now, before they have this idea in their head, I really want to work out. I have silver sneakers, but nothing usually comes of it because they don't know where the gyms are. So what I do is I give them a list. Now, I was sitting in a conference with about 10 other agents, and we were batting around ideas on how to service our clients better. And I brought that example up. And I remember a young lady sitting over in the corner said, I'm not going to do that. That's too much work. And I was thinking, that's not someone who is servicing their clients, because it takes all of 5 minutes to print it out, but it takes care of the client and it lets him know, I'm concerned with you. I'm concerned about you. I want to make sure you get all of the benefits in this plan that it has to offer.
For sure.
And if you're not ready, willing, and able to do that, then what's going to happen is somewhere down the road, you're going to be complaining that you're losing clients. And that's why, because this is a service business.
Yes, for sure.
I remember the first lady I signed up, I was on my first community meeting. I sat down with her. I was all excited. I'm like, yeah, I've got my first client. I filled out the application. I turned it around. I said, I need you to sign right here. And she said, before I sign, I have a question. I said, okay. She said, am I ever going to see you again? And I said, well, what do you mean? She said, if I sign this application, are you going to disappear, or am I ever going to see you again? I said, no, you'll see me again. She said, okay, then I'll sign the application. Because her thing was, she did not want to have an agent who was going to sign her up and then disappear. And I run into people every day that are in that situation, because they'll call me and they'll say, Wesley, I got some questions. And I'm like, this is better put to your agent. And they'll go, I haven't seen him or her in the last year. So I'm there to answer any and all questions. And if your agent is MIA and you need someone to answer the questions, I'm there for you.
Most definitely. That's what I tell my clients, is that I'm your senior benefits specialist. And this is just the beginning, not the end of our relationship.
That's right.
I'm not going to talk to you once a year. Call me whenever you have questions. If something's not working right with your plan, you have questions about your Social Security, your, disability, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
I try to be very resourceful and helpful so they know I'm really their advocate.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't understand the ins and outs. We're qualified, certified to do this, so it's like it's not hard for us to break it down into plain English for our clients, because it's so complicated and confusing. That is the service. It's
That's
helping
right.
walk them through the process. They don't have to spend 2 weeks trying to figure out how their plan works.
Yeah. And one of the things that perplexed me at the very beginning of my career is that in California, you have to take a 52-hour course before you can even take the state exam. So then once you take the state exam, then you have to take the test to get your license. Then you have to spend another 2 weeks going through all of the different plans. And I'm thinking, okay, so I have to learn a whole new language just to offer Medicare, but my clients are supposed to get this book, read through it, and make sense of it. And that didn't make sense to me. So my goal as a awesome Medicare insurance agent is to make sure that I sit down with the client and I explain to them in plain, easy to understand English what their benefits are, so that way they can make an informed decision.
This is amazing. We're so thankful for what you do for the community, Mr. Norris. So how many clients would you say you have about now these days?
I have about 1,000 clients, and my goal is to get 3,500.
Ooh, hallelujah.
That's going to take a lot of work.
Well,
but you know what?
You're already halfway there.
But you know what will get me there? Is that I call my clients every 90 days. And I say, how are you doing? Got any questions? Got any concerns? And they go, well, no, you just called me 3 months ago. I said, and I'll call you 3 months from now.
Yes.
Okay.
These are great tips that you're teaching me, Mr. North, because I'm trying to get 1,000 clients too.
Yep.
I probably have about 950 to go. No.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
I got to start somewhere.
That's right.
But what I did want to share is that, you have your wonderful business that you have, Wesley Norris Insurance Inc., that's run by you and your wife.
Yes.
You guys are holding down the fort on your own.
Well, she holds it down more than I do.
See, now this is a wise man, you guys. He knows. It's woman's work.
That's right. She is the voice of my company. When people call, she is the one who answers the phone, and she screens all the calls before they get to me. And so she laughs and she talks with them. And when they laugh and talk with her, they're laughing and talking with me.
That's right. You guys are a reflection of each other.
That's right.
But the biggest thing that I want to share with the audience is that this man started 8 years ago with his business. Now he has a lucrative, successful business of 1,000 clients that he manages with him and his wife mainly. And I just want to give the community hope and, optimism that you too can be your own business owner. You can run your own business, successful business. You don't have to have, 5,000 degrees and $1 million to do it. You just have to have a good work ethic. The willingness to learn and be able to, take the blood, sweat, and tears that come with entrepreneurship.
That's right. I remember when my son was in the 5th grade, they were having something in his class and saying, what did you want to be when you grow up? And he had it written out properly, but when they came around to him and said, what do you want to be? He said, I want to be an intrapreneur. It's like, what? An intrapreneur? He said, yeah, and he held his little sign up and it said entrepreneur.
Yes.
So we need to teach them young.
Yes, we do. I feel like that is very important, is instead of teaching the youth how to go out and get a job and make other people millions of dollars, make the millions of dollars for yourself.
That's right.
It's not hard to set up an LLC. It doesn't take much to pass a state exam, here in the state of Arizona to become an insurance agent or whatever certification or trade that interests you. You can do it for yourself. You're cutting out the middleman when you just go do it yourself.
That's right.
When we were working for other companies, I would probably get maybe $100 an application, sometimes $5 an application, when you can make $200 to $400 an application. Why am I giving away people my money? And on top of that, I don't get to keep that client for life. That's the company's client for life. So instead, I said, let me start working for myself and keep my own clients.
There you go.
For myself.
That's right.
So, Mr. Norris, thank you so much for coming to the Let's Talk Life show. I really value all of your expertise, your wisdom. Thank you for being my mentor. How can we get a hold of you guys at WNI?
You can. We're on the web at wesleynorrisinsurance.com. Our office is located at 103rd and Indian School on the west side. Just look for the great big sign that says the Medicare store.
All right. Well, you are such an awesome Medicare agent, and I appreciate everything you do for the seniors.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and your audience.
Oh, no worries. Okay, guys. See you next week. Bye. 1 minute.